Hey guys,
Hello.
welcome back 2025. Yay! I'm Stanley,
And Otito.
and you're on the Great Couch. On the Great Couch, we reveal that life is not black and white, but many shades of gray, and we're going to explore the shades of gray together.
Okay.
It's love. Love is in the air. This is February 14th. A few years ago, Otito and I were having this heated argument. It wasn't a heated argument, just a disagreement, as in, is love enough for a marriage to last? And at the time, you can cue the Beatles, John Lennon song, All You Need Is Love. That was what was going in my head. All you need is love. Love can learn. And Ote was, holding hands and saying, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Fast forward 2025, I'm singing a new tune. Love is not enough.
After many loving relationships disappeared.
17 years, 18 years, 20 years, 40 years, and come, wahala day. So, while people are exchanging Valentine cards and what have you, and thinking that this is all alive, that's not the only thing that you need to make your marriage and your relationship work. And so that's what we're going to get into right here, right now. Why did I change my mind? All the stories you heard of people that you are looking up to and their relationship didn't work out. And these are good people, they did everything right and they followed the love and I'm like, maybe there's something else here. And even in our own relationship, I'm like, if love is all that I need, I have bucket loads of love. How come I'm still having issues and problems? And I'm not even going to say that even the John Lennon people that they sang the song, they themselves, the Beatles, broke up. So after singing that All You Need Is Love, it wasn't enough for them to keep their own band of brothers together. But that's a different story. I'm not saying that love is not important. I'm not saying that love is not essential or crucial. All I'm saying is that love by itself is carrying too much of a load to make the relationship work. It needs to be buttressed with some other things, so that when the love emotion wins, these other things can support the marriage, the friendship.
Like what other things though?
Yes. So, three things that come to mind. One is this idea of really how well you understand and how well you know your wife, called love maps. Simple questions that mean a lot. Like when we first got married, who my best friend was at the time is different from who my best friend is now. And even with her, I thought that I understood her or I knew her very well, but people change, people evolve, people grow, and the person that you got married to and knew then is not the person that you know now. At least that's what I'm finding out. So you need to make sure that your love chart or understanding of the person is growing and is evolving, and you are accepting the person for who they are and not who you thought they were going to be or who they were back then. Why are you laughing?
No, I always laugh, when I hear people say, oh, that's not the person I married. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. More like, what a ridiculous thought. Like, why would you think that the person will remain the same, right? So I guess that's kind of part of, would I say, the new or the old me, this person that just says their mind. Like, people. In fact, anybody that stays the same as when you married them, you should be afraid. I'm telling you, you should be deeply afraid, because it just means that you are stagnant. Let me put it that way.
You say stagnant. I might say consistent. What's the difference here?
Stagnant means no stirring. You can be consistent. You can consistently stir your tea.
Okay.
But if you leave the tea there, the water will smell after a while or whatever. Tea is an analogy, but you can consistently stir something. So that's completely different from not taking action at all, or not moving, or not doing, certain things. Because the idea behind people changing or not changing is, to me, so that the other person doesn't have to do anything. Like, this is how it's always been. There's no effort, I would say. So no effort to kind of, get to know what's happening around you. So I find it like a very lazy thought, actually.
I'm going to stay on that effort bit because that leads me to my next point of what you need. So there's this thing of turning towards the person as opposed to turning away from the person, specifically when you're upset or when you're angry. The problem with I found with turning away from the person is that whatever that thing is, it will fester. It will morph into something that is way bigger than it was. And at the end of it, you don't even know why you're so angry. You can't really put it together. And so there's a problem with addressing the issue when you don't know what the issue is. There's no clarity of thought, so there won't be any clarity of conciseness of action. So specifically me, I'm a brooder. When I get upset, when I get angry, I tend to just quiet down, turn away, back out, just keep quiet. I'm not committed. I'm not communicative, is what I would use. And that I find is my own Achilles heel in terms of this of growing my love map or growing my relationship with Otito. So what I try to do is that there's the pausing, the kind of distress, what exactly is going on, and then also make an effort to make beats, keep the lines of communication open, talk, ask questions, and at times just say, address this and hey, listen, this thing, I'm not really happy with this. This is what I hoped would have happened. This is what I thought would have happened. Never a very easy conversation, but it's always very productive. But it lets you know that this is what happened. We're not back on the track. We're walking our way back on track. So that turning towards, as opposed to turning away. And turning away is the line of least resistance. You're like, I'm just going to leave this person be.
So I guess this is where the differences in, would I say, couples comes to light. Because for people who are very open and expressive, right? I feel like what Stanley's saying is you can understand it because it's like, why would something be on your mind and you won't say it, right? But it's interesting. I mean, I guess that's why two people come together, and that's the growth that has to happen, right? Because if everybody keeps doing things the way they were doing it, then there's no forward movement, I feel. So I think that's kind of, when I hear this sometimes, I'm like, that is not my experience at all, right? I've always been a very talking person. Talking, even though I'm quiet, but I don't know how to not say what's on my mind. If it's an issue. So there's that question sometimes of how do you then get to a middle ground, because the middle ground is always where it's palatable for both people. I think.
Okay, so the last thing that I do that's to support that love emotion is actually really try and admire the person, and also use that as a springboard to nurture the person as best I can. And by you can't fake admiration, and so it will show in your body language, you show your facial expression. What I typically do to increase my admiration is, think back on how much the person has accomplished, where they were before, where they are now, and that admiration just springs forth specifically for her, as in really very, very accomplished. I'm like, oh wow, I get to spend the rest of the day, the rest of life, whatever I have left with the person, and so that admiration seeps through. It's more of thinking less about myself, how this is affecting me, what I'm thinking, and more about also thinking, oh, this person has done X, Y, Z, and it's no easy feat. Maybe another way to frame it would be to walk a mile in the person's shoes. If you're able to do that, empathy, not necessarily sympathy, admiration comes.
Yeah, I mean, admiration is key, letting the person know that you appreciate their work and all that. So I guess, we're keeping this light because this part of spousal accomplishment versus not could be its own whole topic that I don't think we talk about enough, because so let's keep it light. It's Valentine's Day after all. So yeah.
So what's in it for you? I would say this Valentine's Day, don't go the popular route with just buying cards, chocolates, and what have you.
You can do that, but add more.
Support the
Add more.
Support the external love.
Give them the love in the way that they want it. You know, we always talk about that here. So add more, I would say. Yeah.
So, welcome back. This is going to be a very, very interesting year. Just a couple of things that we want to point out. One is that we have our first live retreat coming up in June.
Yep.
If you are in the Pennsylvania area,
join us.
Join us.
Join us. It's going to be transformative.
It's going to be very, very interesting.
Yes.
And this year, that's basically the route we're looking at taking at. Less of this, not that we don't miss you guys, and more
in person.
Yeah, in person. I think 2025 will be a year for action and activity and being in person. And yours truly has a new book coming out. It's going to be out in March, I believe. Yeah, just in time for somebody's birthday. We'll send the details here when that comes out. But you know, it's going to be a great year. I'm excited of where we're going to end up at the end of the year, you know, as in from where we're starting here, baby steps, where we're going to end up. So, thanks for tuning in and joining us from our couch.
To like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.